honoree finds his roots not too far away from Cardinal Hayes in the hybrid section of the Bronx Sacred Heart. It was home to many Hayes fans. After leaving Hayes, this gentleman went on to City College of New York, fine hockey player, went on to Rutgers, and then entered the United States Navy. And after a number of years of doing many difficult and fine tasks, he was admitted and appointed to the astronauts program. Again, it was a tremendous accomplishment on behalf of this individual, an individual who never gave up, an individual who really and truly had his eyes on something and truly accomplished it. We know him because he has already been in space twice, and he holds two firsts. The first man of Italian-American ancestry, and also the first Hayes man in space.
I know that for a fact because I could say I probably taught in at least 150 schools around the country. As a parent nowadays, I look for these same qualities to send my children through school and provide the education that I receive. And in these times of trouble for schools almost everywhere, it's reassuring to know that there is still a school, and many schools like Cardinal Hayes, that provide an education that not only educates, but builds intellect, character, and loyalty. And that school is Cardinal Hayes. Thank you very much.
I probably am the only layman who lives at Cardinal Hayes 3 days a week. So my wife thanks Father Graham for that. I thank Father Graham and Father Mulligan for that rare opportunity. Most people don't get a chance to live at a school and savor the spirit of Hayes. And I am a very blessed and lucky person to be part of it. I came from IBM. You notice in Father Graham's remarks, I retired in 1987. Any of you who are stock pickers and watched the market, IBM stock has fallen precipitously.
My own opening comments originally were plagiarized by somebody who was here last year. So I had to start all over, all right? Now, first of all, if I say too much, bore you to death, you only have yourself to blame. Because last year, I was taking a tent count, and I understand that there were people here who requested to pray on my behalf. So I'm here probably because of your prayers. Okay? Say too much, it's your fault. It's time to go to high school. And I look around
Not too close,
to the
is it?
selections of the public high schools in New York. And I tell you, they were appalling. I happened to run into a friend of mine who told me about Cardinal Hayes. So I came up to take a look. Well, I walked up the concourse, and my first impression of Hayes was this big stone edifice, let's say, with a steep background, with a little exercise yard on the side. My first
Well, I see you're going in public speaking, I guess. Our next inductee comes to us all the way from the City of God, San Diego, California.
I actually wrote about a 6-page speech, but I'll save it for trying to get it. Been away a long time. I've been in California now since 1963. And over the years, you sort of miss a lot of things about New York. And there were 2 articles written about a high school. Bill Buckley wrote one, and Flanagan of the LA Times wrote an article about how he was fortunate, how they were fortunate to know about this school in the Bronx. And it was amazing being that far away, thousands of miles, the pride that swelled up and the memories that came back from my times in Hayes. And the great thing about it is the education. That we were given the tools. I grew up in St. Joseph's in the Bronx. I got the tools there first, at their grade school, then got the tools at Hayes. But the most important tool we got, I think, at Hayes was in the song. We fight, fight, fight. When I started 11 years ago working with the homeless, I thought we'd never raise the kind of money we need. I started with a $100,000 a year budget, and now it's $16.5 million a year. Makes me because people still give me money, I don't know why. But that's part of what Hayes gave you, is that tenacity. The ability to go out, whatever challenges came your way, to put forth the energy and the effort to make it work. And so when I first got the letter that I had been selected for the Hall of Fame, I said to all my friends in California, I said, my family is now going to realize I really do work for a living. All the other awards don't matter compared to coming home. And it's amazing how Hayes has followed us around. There are a lot of Hayes graduates in San Diego. I'm seeing Hayes' brothers on my donor list. He's a regular donor. So I keep getting money just like Hayes got it out of us over the years.
Well, maybe, Joe, we can get you back to Hayes on endowment team. The next honoree, a 1968 graduate, a native, not a Bronx native, a Lady of Refuge Parish. He is a constant and kind friend of Hayes. He has been a major bulwark and the support for Hayes over the years, an early member of our endowment fund committee, and more recently, he is very active in the development action team. He is currently
Thank you. As you can see, I brought my fan club with me. I have to say, this is a very special honor, but ever since I received Tom Grant's letter back in spring telling me that I was being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I've really had a hard time understanding why. I've rationalized it. I've come to the conclusion, my own conclusion, that I've been a big supporter of the school in spirit and financially. But the fact of the matter is that that's easy to do, okay, for someone like myself. I grew up in a family, excuse me, where helping people out, helping good causes out is just what you learn to do. And my support of Hayes was a natural thing. I lost touch with the school during the 70s, I guess as many of us did. But then the realization came home that so much of my success, so much of my, so much of what I've learned, so much of what I am, had its foundation at Cardinal Hayes. And for that, I'm eternally grateful.
would ask his wife Jean to please stand and take a bow for The youngest of our inductees this evening comes again from the Bronx, St. Benedict's up at Throgs Neck. He also is one of the original members of the Alumni Association Steering Committee back in the 1980s, and he served in many capacities over the years. He was a treasurer for 6 long years. He began his service of Hayes not just in 1980, but when he was a student. When he was a student at Hayes, he worked in the athletic office with Mr. Bernie Gallagher. He worked at the CHSAA. He did so much. He also worked for the Exceptional Children's Program during his days at Hayes. So truly he was one who served. Currently he is the Chief Financial Officer at William Douglas McAdams, which is a privately owned advertising agency specializing in pharmaceuticals. So it is truly a pleasure to induct into the Hall of Fame a man who has truly served Hayes in many different ways, even since his undergraduate days. So we're proud to induct into the Hall of Fame 1971 graduate, Mr. George Cutters.
Again, when I received about my induction into the Hall of Fame, I was overwhelmed at the time. First of all, I spoke to Artie Guy and I said, there had to be other people who deserved this honor more than me. Well, Artie convinced me that the committee felt otherwise. So right now I feel I joined the ranks of some truly outstanding Hayesmen. Many of them are here this evening, and I'm happy to be with them. Even though I'm the youngest of the inductees at this point, I still look back and see that my first day at Hayes was over 26 years ago. So 1971 may be the youngest, but it's a long time ago for me. Compared to today's tuition, which I just heard in the last couple of weeks, monthly tuition is $275 a month. When I started there, it was $15 a month. By the time I was a senior, it was $33 a month. That was a lot to me back then. I still had to work for it. I sold a lot of hot dogs in Central Park and newspapers on Sundays to come up with that money. When I was at Hayes, I was more interested in the club activities. I was in the camera club. I was a volunteer in the Exceptional Children's Program and even a member of the band for a while. Participating in all these activities brought me into contact with virtually everyone in the school, generally because I was taking their picture for the Challenger or the yearbook. Several of the people I felt most grateful towards during that time included Brother Arnold, who's here this evening, and Brother Mark. Also, Bernie Gallagher and Tom Murray were some of my biggest supporters when I was working in the Catholic High Schools Athletic Association, the office in the school there. All of these people helped instill in me both a love of Hayes and a sense of responsibility for getting involved with people wherever I could. Since the inception of the Alumni Association through Father McCormick's vision, I've had the opportunity to return to Hayes and strengthen these relationships and to establish new friendships with an even wider arena of Hayesmen. People like Artie Guy, John Greco, Dermy O'Connell, and Joe Hamlin, and I struggled in the early years of the association when we were on our own publishing the journal and coordinating these dinners and hoping people would show up. The Alumni Association has helped make Hayes more than simply the place where 22,000 kids went to high school. I visit the school once or twice a year, and I see that Hayes today is fundamentally unchanged from what it was in my day. A year ago on my job, I recruited a few Hayesmen for a special project to work after school. Their supervisor came back to me and remarked that they were the best temporary helpers she ever had. They were hardworking, neat, respectful, and punctual. Father Graham and his faculty deserve credit for maintaining Hayes' high standards today. Starting back with the 40th anniversary of the school in 1981, Terrace in the Park, I've attended all but one of these dinners and heard the speeches of all the past honorees. What I appreciated most was brevity. Thank you all for this honor. I cherish it.
Well said, and now George has got to have his wonderful wife, Karen. I'd like the present officers of the Alumni Association to come and help the new members with their special Hall of Fame jackets. While this is being done, before we introduce our current president, I'd like to recognize a man who also was part of the Alumni Association at its very beginnings. The first president, and for 13 years served nobly as president of the association, a man who, although having to travel on business, still was part and parcel of the success of the Alumni Association, part of the success story that we see here this evening. So we'd like our former President John Grant to take a bow. I hope we get a few flags tomorrow, against Stepanek. We're big game against Stepanek. John always does a nice job of refereeing. Okay, it's a pleasure this time to introduce our current president. Remember the class of 1947, a great class, a class that has given us an endowment fund and many fine graduates. It's a pleasure to introduce Mr. Charles Galati of the class of 47. President of the Alumni Association.
Thank you, Bob. Al, George, tuition when I went to school was $5 a month. It's tough scraping the $5 together. Fellow Hayesmen, friends of Hayes,